about one of our key witnesses from the Micronesia Legal Service, John Redmouth, for the statement. Please, that is welcome at this point in time. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Chair, and members of your committee. It is a pleasure to be here, although the topic is not something I really enjoy listening to because of the divisive issue that presents to the community here in Yap. I must say that this is really the first time I've been involved with a discussion relating to this particular investment who is being discussed to make an investment in our island. So I'm not personally well informed about where all the issues are and where we are at this point. The one thing I do know is that any deal between the investor and the communities in Yap would have to happen in a private manner, and this is because of the fact that the land areas being contemplated by the investor are privately owned, and so I don't really know how much we can do to deter those individual landowners who may be interested in securing an arrangement with this particular investor or any investor for that matter. I must also say that our office has also not taken any sides in this whole issue. The Micronesia Legal Service Yap office, particularly because I realize that it has this idea of this particular investor coming to Yap has riled up the communities, have divided up the people, families, villages, municipalities, and I think even the leadership, but I don't know that for sure. So Micronesia Legal Services is a program that assists the communities of Yap under the guidance of the state leadership. But with what appears to me to be a controversial issue regarding this particular investment, our official position at this time is to kind of be very careful and wait to see where the leadership wants us to move and where the communities wishes to, or what the communities wishes to do with the particular offers from the investor, before we really know what role we can play, what meaningful role we can play in helping Yap remain a place for Yapese, but as well as be able to survive in this global developing system that we inevitably are part of. With that short introduction, I must also, in terms of comments on the template that I got a copy of, I surely join the previous speaker, Mr. Timothy Wong, in believing that the template appears to present a one-sided view or a one-sided position to an agreement. I think this is because of two particular provisions, mainly the term as well as the rent. the way the rent is structured. And in terms of the rent, I see that there is a rent schedule and an amount to be inserted. I think the term first, as was alluded to by Tim on, it calls for 99 years, and then it also mandates 100 years after the 99. So to me, that essentially deprives a landowner and probably 2 other generations after him from their land. And essentially, this is more like a sale. I mean, you can call it a lease or whatever you want to call it, but when you look at all the extended period of the term, it is essentially taking that lease to like a sale, because it will take a very long while before the landowners and his heirs and the heirs of the heirs will have any say over what will have to be done with the land after the 200 years. In terms of the rent, I think one problem that will be faced, or that will be faced by the landowners, is exactly what is the proper or the more accurate rate to use. I don't know that there is any, or there may be, and I'm not totally aware, any fair market value system in Yap, or the fair rental value system. Those are usually designed and developed and become useful to projects like this when people out in the communities are offering parcels and land areas that we have to determine what value we can really get from giving up those parcels. And without having a good system to make a good and fair rate to offer to the investor, most likely you will not be able to strike a fair deal with the investor because of our lack of resources, while the investor would be resourced. The other thing with the rent, I think, is the fact that it takes about, if we believe that the template survives any negotiation or examination, it requires 10 years before the rent could be increased. And when it has to be increased, it only increases for like 10%. I think 10 years is probably too long. Maybe 5 would be probably a better. I know I've seen leases that calls for increments after 5 years, but also calls for increases at more than 10%. And I'm not really sure where the 10% came from, but it could be something standard that I'm not familiar with. And finally, I think the template or and any lease for that matter, written in English or whatever language it would be other than Yapese, has to be translated into Yapese and presented to the Yapese body, and has to be read to them quite carefully. They will have to even probably sign the Yapese version and along with the English version, so that at any time it could be established that the parties to the lease are fully informed about what they got, what they signed. So I think the bottom line is it's a private matter. The template, as I see it, is a private affair between an investor and Japanese landowners. And we hope that, and I hope that the private landowners who contemplate signing the deals or the agreement are well informed and demand to be informed before they sign the template or whatever developing document results from the discussions and negotiations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.